Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Got a lot going on in the last few days with Project Dirtbag, so strap in. I'm gonna let you know what happened and what we're doing now.
Oh my God.
So Project Dirtbag was originally designed to be a winter project. It was halfway LS swapped, and I was gonna do some things to keep myself occupied over the winter. And it evolved from there with all the things that we discovered and found, and you can go back and watch all that. So we put a cam in it. Cam came with BTR springs. Everything ran great. Got it to the point where it would, run and drive a little bit around the block. So I decided, let's kick this thing loose. Let me see what I can get, what the next project will be, so I can find something a little more my size, because S10 don't really fit me. I tried. I don't know, really don't like it. Just not my deal. So strapped it down, and we headed to Illinois to try to trade this for another project. So we've got her loaded up, and we are going to head to Illinois to get the next project. Join us. It's 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and I don't know, it should rain and thunderstorm. So I figure that's the perfect day to strap a bunch of vehicles together and drive down the highway. What can go wrong? We're about to head into whatever this is, which is just dust and dirt. Where else is on the road, so wish us luck. Should have got that life insurance policy. Once we got there and got it unloaded and saw what our next project was going to be, started to get a little bit excited, and I guess Dirtbag did too, because she did not want to run right at all. And to be honest, it was kind of embarrassing that I'd just done all this work and presented with a vehicle that was not working. So that was fun. Tail between my legs, I strapped it back down on the trailer and brought it home, because I was not going to try to trade or negotiate or sell it in that condition. That's just not me. So I did some investigating, and I went down a few rabbit holes. I had 4 cylinders, conveniently the front 4, that were just not firing, which is weird. Normally you would think it would be left bank or right bank, because they're tied to power and grounds or something. And Dirtbag is just not easy to get my big meaty hands into. So tore her down, started doing some systematic troubleshooting. I did have a P0200 code, which is for injectors. So I started diving into the injector circuit. I've got the injector cleaner set up over here, so I ran 8 injectors through, found me 8 that were flowing good, ohm checked good, and threw them on the intake. Still had the P0200 code, so we got to check in the wiring. I verified all the wiring, powers and grounds, from the PCM and the fuse block all the way to the injector plugs, wiggled them, shook them. I had solid signal getting to the the injectors. And the injectors are good, because I just ran them on the bench, so I know they're good. So that was weird, but I have a code. Cleared the code. Finally, it stayed away. Determined that was initially started because I was disabling injectors and HP tuners. Somehow that code stuck. So we got past the injectors, and we started getting down into, why is it running rough? Well, let me check the ignition. So I checked spark on all the cylinders, and I had spark. Some was weak. Started checking again, coil triggers and powers and grounds all the way, the whole ignition system, and everything checked good. Swapped out the ignition coil bracket subharnesses, and some of my misfire went away. Now I had 2 cylinders that were not firing. So we're getting close. Let's figure out, the only last thing we have besides fuel and spark is compression. Let's start checking compression, even though plugs are a pain in the butt to get to on this thing. Pull a valve cover on the driver's side, because that's easy to get to, and lo and behold, what do I see? Yep, brand new valve spring, never been over 5,000, just sitting here revving in the driveway. Bad. So I contacted Richard Holdner, who's who I got this cam through, and they said, gotcha, I'm going to overnight you another spring and send the spring that broke out to BTR so they can analyze it. So that's what we're doing. I put a stock spring in there for now, just so I can continue troubleshooting. Got everything troubleshot. Engine appears to be somewhat happy. I had fluid in the transmission, took the transmission out for a drive. That doesn't seem to work now. So I don't know what happened in that trip to Illinois that we took. I don't think that Dirtbag likes trips because it shit the bed. So anyways, here's my valve spring. So I don't know, BTR valve spring. Had good luck with them in the past. But this little guy just decided to not be in one piece anymore. So I guess we'll see what BTR says on that. Got another one on the way. Just in case I have more problems with that, I have had luck with the Summit LS6 style valve springs, so I got another set of those just in case I get another BTR issue. I'll swap them out and put some Summit ones in there. That's what's in the Chevelle, and I beat that like a redheaded stepchild. That, you know, I don't know, reasons. So yeah, that's where we're at now. Trying to get Project Dirtbag so I can drive this thing around. It does seem kind of fun to be in a little, you know, crappy little truck you can just beat the hell out of. A little bit more so than the Chevelle, and, you know, not really worry about if you're going to break it because there's 8,000 of them in the junkyard. So kind of excited to get this thing up and running, but it's going to need a transmission. Lo and behold, one of the guys in the car club, Davey Samples, his boy Cameron, had a 4L80 out of a parts truck. He just was parting out. So made a deal on that, picked that thing up. I believe it's from a 99 2000 truck. It looks like the older style case, and it has a 96 from the junkyard written on it. So I guess we're going to dig into that and figure out what year it is, if it's good, all those good things. But more importantly, we're going to try to get a 4L80 transmission in this S10. I don't see that being too much of an issue, other than that pinch weld goes along the top of the cab there on the underside. I might have to hammer that out just a little bit. But that transmission is 2 inches longer, which means the drive shaft's going to need to be 2 inches shorter. Which I think I got some plans for as well. That's going to be the me fuse. That 4L80 is going to keep me from going the other way. If I put a Manuel in there, next thing you know, it's just I'm gonna walk out one day and it'll be caged and lowered, and it'll be a time attack truck, and I won't know what happened. So that's the fuse for now. We're gonna keep that 4L80 in there. I'm gonna put a Dirtbag converter on it, and we're just gonna send it, and it's gonna do all the burnouts. Hell, I might even put some off-road tires in the back and lift the rear end up just so I can get more airflow under the bit. I don't know, but we're gonna do some things with burnouts. So today we're gonna get under this thing. We're gonna pull the 4L60 out, and we're going to attempt to squeeze the 4L80 in there and see if it'll work. Well, that was a fun morning. Got the transmission out of the S10. I don't like dropping trannies. That sounds bad. I don't like transmissions. For some reason, I always get the vehicle way high to get them out, and then I drop them. I don't know why. But I did make this little Harbor Freight tranny adapter. I just can't say the word tranny anymore and it not instantly think something else. Thanks a lot, America. But anywho, that works now. So it's such an easier task to do this. Got everything jammed out in a couple hours, pulled everything down, got the old 4L Slippy out and threw that over in the yard, and got the old oven cleaner and cleaned on the 4L80, and it's starting to look pretty good. While you're doing this, make sure your workbench is outside and it's windy. That's what I like to do. But you know, cleaned up with some cheap oven cleaner and took the bolts out of the pan. Let's do this together. Well, that's not bad. It's a lot worse, or a lot better than I was thinking. It's got some friction material down there, but everything appears to be where it needs to be. I did get a new fluid, or I did get a new filter, so I'm gonna swap that out. Probably gonna keep this gasket and just throw those everywhere, and probably keep that gasket. That's one of them reusable jobs. So let's get this new filter in here, get this buttoned up, and get it back inside. All right, we rolled that pinch weld, but as you can see right up here, I'm still hitting on the top of the transmission. So I'm gonna have to do something with that. Probably jack that up some, and then I'm hitting on these ears, so I'm going to cut those off. They're going right where the exhaust is at, so we're going to cut these down. Cam swap. So let's be honest, I think this is why we're all here, is to see how much room we got. I did some unconventional things and got myself some room around this lip here. Probably could have got these bolts from the bottom, but for me it's easier just to take the manifold off, the intake off, and get these guys. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in. I got the one up top, you know, just to show that there's, for me, a bunch of clearance here now. So get the rest of these bolted in. Alright, forgive me for being upside down and sideways trying to get this for you, but the only bolt I had a problem with is that guy, and as you can see, it just can't, you can't get a socket on there and get a wrench on there, but everything else I was able to just, you know, 18 extensions and a swivel. So if you're doing this, I'd recommend just give yourself a little bit more room right about in there. Hammer that little guy in just so you can get your ratchet, your extension on there, whatever this thing, swivel, there you go, just so you can get that in there. Probably another 3 taps of the hammer, that'd have been good, but we've been slowly working around. I was even able to get this little guy way up there. Get it on there. You can get a swivel on that little guy just fine. Plenty of room so far, and I got room here, but I haven't played with my angles yet. I'm sure that's going to get a little bit close, especially when we start doing this mount. So I'm going to get the other side bolted in and keep moving. Alright guys, so here's the transmission cross member. This was fun. So basically I just took the stock one, obviously this is flipped over, put the stock one in there and mocked it up, marked some lines about the width of the transmission where I need to cut it, cut here and here, moved this piece back, bolted it onto the transmission, bolted those sides on, and then I got some, I think this is 3/16 3/16 thick bar stock that's 3 inches wide. So I kind of angled it a little bit, got the transmission where it was at 2.5 degrees or so, which was, you know, as far as I could go up without touching. And then I just tacked these pieces in place on both sides, made me a little framework, and then I took it down and doubled up on the 3/16, so that makes it 6/16, which is a quarter. Should be plenty strong, stronger than it is here. I know, Brian, Jason, you're going to say triangles. I got it, doubled up, did what I could. It ain't going nowhere. So should have the torsional, because I put a plate this way and then put a plate that way to kind of take the load on both sides. I stood on it and it's not going anywhere. So I'm gonna paint that and get that installed, and then this transmission will be mounted. Hop into wiring on this thing. I know it's everybody's favorite topic. I run 2 wires for the other speed sensor. So I found some plugins in my box of mess over there, some computer pins, spliced those onto some long wires here, and I did the little twisting with the drill because, I don't know, it's a speed sensor. They like to twist these from the factory, so I did the same. So I'm going to fish this side from the PCM down, and then we'll grab it on the other side and see how long it needs to be. All right, guys, we're back in here. Excuse my creeper. These guys, I don't know if you've ever done this before, this has a sealant in here that kind of acts like glue. So I took this off, cleaned it, scraped most of that out, and I was able to reuse my 4L60 plugs going in here. Shift arm. This is all the factory S10 stuff. It just bolted right in. It's not the right bracket for this, but it'll hold. So that'll do what we need to do. The right one, or the 4L80 one, has the thing that comes down and the hole's too small for this particular shift lug deal, or shift cable. So anyway, we're gonna run this one. I did get the exhaust in, all the O2 sensors and things, which is obnoxiously stupid in this truck. See a little better on the cross member here. It's just going to do cross member things. Cooler lines, I just took what was there, cut them off, and then I did the dirt bag thing of, you know, just splicing in a piece of rubber and feeding back up to the front up there, except for that little guy. Don't worry about that little guy, so I'm going to hook that up. Anyway, this is all installed. So I got the part of the two-piece shaft here, another part of the two-piece shaft here. I'm thinking with my lengths, and being that that compresses just a little bit, I think it would be good to just sneak this guy on here. I do have a 4L80 yoke, so I'm gonna try to put that yoke on there and see how close it is. We'll have to get a conversion U-joint to go from, I think that's 1330, 1350, I have to measure that, to 3R, whatever that car type U-joint is, so to go from here to here, and then I think this will be perfect for drive shaft and I won't need to do anything. So that's pretty much it for that. I do need to segment swap this in HP tuners. I got to put the 4L80 segment in there. You can't just change it in the drop down, you got to actually change the tune. So I'm gonna go do that real quick, eat some lunch, come back out, and then I guess I got to get the intake back on so we can fire this thing up and get some fluid in it. See what it does. Well, all right, let's see if this is gonna work. I have the front half of the drive shaft, two-piece drive shaft, extended cab. These are the 3R whatever inside clip U-joints, and I'm pretty sure that these are the same size. They measure out pretty damn close. I don't know why the larger yoke that fits in the 4L80 would be, you know, having that size joint. Oh, that was my balls. But we're gonna press this guy out, basically just swap this for that and see if I can't shove that in far enough that this whole thing still works so I don't have to do drive shaft things. Join me. Hot rods. Well, I was able to get the transmission drive shaft in there, and it just scooted back a little bit on the, you know, compressed the two shafts together. It's got that spline deal on there, and seems to be working great, bolted right in, so that was weird. I think the yoke I had was from like a TH400 or something, because it had that small car inside cap 3R44 or whatever that U-joint size was, and a little short stubby guy that fit in the back of the 4L80, so win for me. So I filled it up with fluid and dropped it down on the ground, and I was going to start it up, put it in gear, pull forward and back, and you know, hot rods, they never want to work. So I'm fighting a dead battery, and when I did get it started with the jump box, it just idled for a second and dies, and then idled for a second and dies. So I don't know what the hell's going on with that. I'm gonna have to figure that out before I can test this transmission, so off to more troubleshooting. Sometimes things just escalate way more than you want them to in life, and when you're trying to get stuff done on cars, it just tends to happen that way. The reason we pulled all this out is I jack the truck up to oh god level, get this transmission out. I think I might have shaken some stuff up in the tank. So I pulled the tank off, pulled the bed off to look at the tank, and I don't know, this is kind of crudded up. Pretty bad in there. I may have to replace that. That might be fine, it might not be fine, it could be my issue, it may not be. I have the 200 liter per hour pump that I pulled out of the Chevelle, and a little dun-dun damn it for the bottom. So I might see if I can make all that work on here, just so I know the pump's good. Just to start the truck. Well guys, I was hoping to start and drive and show you that the 4L80 install was a success, but alas, the truck is fighting me again. So I'm going to wrap this video up now. 4L80 went in, didn't have any clearance issues, just had to roll the lip, drive shaft bolted in fine. Everything else was pretty simple and bolt in. So good mod. We'll see how it works out when I get the truck fixed. So if you want to see that, hang in there for more troubleshooting and tech tips, and we'll see you on the next one.
Action. Fire. I just wake up and piss excellence, and I want to go fast.
You're not first, you're last.
Man, I was high when I said that. Did real good. Car ran real good.